Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I'm Tyrone, that's Devin, and look, new stuff. Oh,
so shiny.
Got a brand new background, got a brand new way things is put together, all thanks to my brother Devin.
Do a little bow.
Now, what we got going on today, our first movie going on today is Gunpowder Milkshake on Netflix.
Your talents are needed. Somebody stole from us. We need that money back.
Just change of plan.
Okay, so Gunpowder Milkshake. This movie is straight to Netflix, and it definitely deserved to be.
Hey, there's some good things on Netflix.
There's some good things on Netflix, but sometimes they sneak in a bargain bin, and this is one of those bargain bin. Okay.
This is like the one where you dig down the bottom and you get it.
What's that movie? It has the actual. It has the 99 sticker on it.
Yeah, that's right. And it comes like built in with like another movie, which is like a little bit better, you know.
And it stars Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan, you know, that's from The Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and Jumanji.
I never even saw the new.
And
Jumanji.
All those movies way better than this.
Yeah. She was not the fault in this film. I thought. She was pretty good. Before I even get into the synopsis and talk about what the actual movie's about, I kind of wish I saw the movie that I think she thinks she's in. Because the movie she thinks she's in is pretty awesome. And you can tell, she's like, oh yeah, this is a good one. I'm a complete badass. And you're like, oh yeah, I want to see that. But that ain't this movie. This is a different movie.
She thought that she was in a female version of John Wick.
Yes, this is very, very much like John Wick, which is the big problem. This movie steals from John Wick. It steals from every Quentin Tarantino movie ever made. It steals from The Big Lebowski. It's like, dude, it's a big old thieving movie.
That's exactly what I said when I saw these shots, especially in the diner. I was like, that's a Quentin Tarantino shot.
Yeah. And the music, I mean, it was like someone was digging through Quentin Tarantino's like discography. Like they're like, what music does he have? Yeah.
Exactly, so.
Yeah. But the problem is though, even though this movie is like a big combination of all those other movies, like it didn't really mix up well. You know what I mean? And it turned into like this big bland blob.
Super bland blob. So. And right now, people in the United States, this movie's number 3 on the top watched it. What?
I mean, I understand that because it's not an atrocious film, but it's a vacuum film. It's the kind of movie you turn on when you vacuum the floor. Yeah, exactly.
Bro, I don't even know if it's one of those films you turn on. I don't know. It's probably one of those films that you turn on when you're out in the garage underneath a car working on, a car. You're not even watching the movie.
Yeah. It's like it's in the background somewhere. You're like watching the reflection of it from like a pool of water on the floor or something. You're not even watching it. Yeah.
While we're dogging this movie out for a second, people, Karen Gillan's character, she's a spy or an assassin that works for this they kept saying it, this all male firm.
Yep, the firm, all caps.
The Firm. And there's actually a better movie out there called The Firm starring Tom Cruise, but yeah.
Again, this movie is a big patchwork of other films, but go ahead.
And she's basically a loner. Her mother was also an assassin, and the beginning of this film where she's like a teenager in the diner, and she's talking to her mom, and her mom is like this ruthless killer, and she has to go, and in this diner, by the way, this diner is kind of weird because it's like all the assassins go to this diner.
Right. This movie, especially with the mom, there is like a family lineage of just 2 people of assassins, but 2.5, I guess, because eventually Karen Gillan gets caught up with this little girl, like through a series of unfortunate events. This little girl who becomes kind of a surrogate daughter, who also seems to want to follow her in the assassin game. So, you know what? To be honest, all of that to me, why not? She looked up to her. Why not? I don't know. All that stuff was fine. The premise of this movie, fine. The actors, awesome. I think every single actress in this film, kick ass. I think
name them real quick.
Everyone has been in better films. We already talked about Karen Gillan. Her mother was played by Lena Headey. She was in 300. She's awesome. Carla. Oh man, I can never pronounce your name.
Gugino?
She's always playing a badass too. She's awesome. But of course, the one and only Michelle Yeoh, a true badass, 100% athlete. It's like awesome. Like, what more can you say about that? And then of course, Angela Bassett's in this film. Like, please, this film is like packed with talent, and they don't do much with it. And it's not necessarily, as I said before, the talent's fault. I think whoever was selling this movie, they sold it well because they got a good cast. Yeah. But unfortunately, they could not back up what they were selling because this is a super stylistic movie, and this movie thinks it is so cool. Oh my God, this movie thinks it's cool, which makes it so much cringier, so much cornier when the action's going and the music's pumping, and you can tell it's like, oh, the director's like, oh, you're gonna like this, and I'm just like bored as hell. It makes me kind of, it's like cringy.
I was saying to myself, I was like, I looked at the time, I said, 2 hours. 2 hours?
Yeah, it's not short. Yeah, of this
and
for what reason?
What was the reason?
They try to do this thing with comedy, with these three stooges of guards that's in this, that's basically sent after her to, and I was like, none of this is funny at all.
Yeah. So see, and so the movie tries to be meta, right? So these three stooge guards who are who are they called? The imbeciles, the idiots? Doesn't matter. They just who cares, right? But these three guys, they're high off laughing gas, so they're giggling at everything, right? So I think the joke is that they're giggling at things that aren't funny. But unfortunately, it's not funny that things are not funny. So it's like eating itself. You know what I mean? It's like terrible. Yeah, rough. But again, I really liked the cast. I think the idea of this film of like a female John Wick, I think that's kind of cool. I like seeing Michelle Yeoh in film. You know, there's a lot of potential. Who's that? Paul Giamatti. He was like the head of the firm. Awesome too. Please, this cast is amazing. But altogether, man, it's a mess, and it's super predictable.
Super predictable. And I gotta talk about this. The special effects. These bullets that's hitting these people. There's this scene where the surrogate child is in a van, and one of the other women that's protecting this library, which kind of seems like the place where John Wick had to go, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
It seems like John Wick's tailor, right? John Wick, he's like, ooh, I'd like a new suit. Oh, for casual or for work? And he's like, work. Oh, you're like, oh yeah.
Anything for the end of the night. Something big, bold.
May I suggest the Benelli M4?
But this movie, they're like, I'd like a book. They're like, ooh, a big one or a small one? And I'm like, it's so lame. It's so. But please, you're telling me a story about the bullets, man.
She is like the one of the ladies that's like that's the head of this library that gives out these books. She is in this Gatling gun, and these bad guys are coming in, like hundreds of them or whatever. It's coming down to where they're trying to get the girl or whatever. She cranks that thing up. She starts letting it off, people, and the bullets are coming down like it's some freaking Michael Bay thing in slow motion.
They're like raining down,
and they're hitting these people, and it looks like paintballs. The blood looks like it's paintballs, man. I'm like, huh?
In that scene, like I said before, special effects don't really bother me so much.
It does bother me.
In that scene, I was
like,
I was distracted. I was distracted less by the special effects and more by the fact that I knew that fuck it. I knew that character was going to die right there. And I was waiting for it. I was like, I was like, one of these people got to die. She's the least important. It's got to be her. So I was just waiting for the bullet to hit her. And then it finally hits her, and I'm like, thank God. I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like, oh my God, we got 30 more minutes left in this film. Yeah. So I was distracted by the predictability. And again, as I've said before, being predictable isn't necessarily bad, but it can be bad if you're just sitting around waiting for these like movie beats to hit. You know what I mean? Which is what I felt like I was doing with Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah, I was waiting for that the same way, man.
I was also distracted by Karen Gillan's hat in the beginning. She looked like Paddington Bear. I was like, what is this Paddington Bear hat thing? Is this supposed to be cool? I didn't understand
kind of like
it.
Carmen Sandiego type.
I don't know. I was like, what is this hat? I've never been so distracted by a hat in my life. But when it flew off, I was like, thank God. What the hell? It was terrible.
Yeah. I was very distracted by that, and I was also very distracted by the colors and the neon lights that's going on in this film.
Yeah. It's very stylistic. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and get to my rating. I'll go ahead and get to my rating right now. Gunpowder Milkshake is a shell that's on the outside that's like a chocolate shell, right? And on the inside you want to find nougat, but you don't find nougat, you just find air. Okay. And I gotta give this like a 3 out of 10.
Okay. I liked your metaphor of the empty chocolate shell because I agree with that, because on its surface, this movie should be fine, right? It should be good. Cast is great. The storyline is like cliche. It's been done before, but whatever, that's fine. We could probably do something with this, right? John Wick wasn't original either, but they did so much with it, right? But this movie does nothing, and it is kind of boring and quite forgettable, which is why I'm saying I don't know if you can spoil this thing, because nothing actually happens of any consequence, at least not that I cared. I was just kind of waiting for the movie to be over so I could watch Space Jam. But, whatever. I'm going to give my rating as well. I'm going to give this movie a 4. You gave it a 3. I'm going to give it a 4. And the only reason I think I'm going to rate mine a little bit higher is because I just love this cast, man. I think this cast is awesome. And yeah, I think it's great. And I feel like they could have done so much more. They did.
Well, this is something that
this
is something the directors and especially the writer of this film can learn from. Yeah. They can learn from. They really need to learn pacing, man. And
pacing is all over the place.
It's just so learn from this. Yeah. And if you guys, if the creators of this film learn from this, okay, learn from this mistake, learn from the critiques of moviegoers like Devin and I. And do better, okay?
yeah. I think responsibility falls solely on the shoulders of the director, who is a man I've never heard his name before, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher it. Please forgive me. Navat Papashado. He needs some work, man. He needs some practice. Maybe this was a couple more at bats. Maybe he'll have something there. But clearly he can sell a movie. But man, I don't know if he can make one, because this was rough. This was rough. This was like just barely. And this is gonna sound so mean. But this is just barely above like student film type thing. Like this was really. I was like, wow, I can't believe he got this thing on Netflix. And he got Michelle Yeoh in here. Whoa, Angela Bassett's in this movie. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So kudos to you for that. But then your movie's trash, dude.
Yeah. So that is our rating right here. I gave it a 3. Devin gave it a 4, and that is our rating for Gunpowder Milkshake. Watch at your own discretion. All right, and the next film that we are about to review is Space Jam: A New Legacy, starring LeBron James.
Welcome, King James.
I'm a cartoon? Ah, I'm shorter than Kevin Hart.
LeBron James.
Yes, it's starring LeBron James. This movie is a sequel. Clearly, it is a sequel because of the 1995 version.
It's like a sequel, but it's not like a super direct
sequel. No,
because I was wondering why they didn't call it Space Jam 2, because everyone's been begging for a Space Jam 2 forever. So I was like, why didn't they just call it Space Jam 2? But now after watching the movie, it is more distinct. It's more different from Space Jam. So I understand why they call it A New Legacy.
Yeah, it stars LeBron James, and it stars him as the worst father in the world. Okay. Because this guy cares about basketball and only basketball for his children.
But not even just basketball. He cares about winning, and that's it. Just winning. So it's not enough that you play basketball. It's that you got to be the best. God damn it.
You got to be the You gotta be the best, bro. This film starts in 1998 in Akron, Ohio, and this kid looks puny. That's playing him.
Right.
Okay, and
Right.
I'm like,
But it starts the same. It's got the exact same story structure of the original Space Jam.
yeah,
It's I bet you I kind of want to play this little experiment of just hitting play on both Space Jam 1 and Space Jam 2 at the same time, and I bet you they'll hit the same scenes at the same time. Like it starts off like you said with a flashback with him talking to his father, and then it's got a montage of him playing basketball, and then we see him in modern day. This exact same pacing was what happened in Space Jam 1 with Michael Jordan. So it's very, 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 very similar.
yeah, and if you compare Michael Jordan's reason for going to the Toon World, and you compare LeBron James' reason for going, it's different. If you go back to 1990, was it 96 or 95? I don't just want.
Oh, for the original Space Jam? Yeah.
I believe. Anyway, so,
They played that song so much.
so
But anyway.
but back then, man, soundtracks, boy, that was pretty good. But back then, his reasons for going is that the Toons had to go and seek him out because they were in danger of losing their world to aliens coming in and wanted to use them as a theme park that the Mob Squad was going to build.
More specifically, the bad guy in Space Jam 1 wanted to, and I quote, enslave them. He wanted to use them as slaves. Now, this movie is the same thing, but they do not use the word slaves at all. They use the word slaves a lot in the original Space Jam. I'm like, Jesus.
We are taking you to our theme park in outer space, where you will be our slaves and placed on display for the amusement of our paying customers.
You just can't turn us into slaves. That would be bad. You've got to give us a chance to defend ourselves.
Especially for a movie starring like a black man, can you chill out with like the chains, like the chains imagery and the slaves talk? Like, let's chill out with that. But clearly they were like, no, we're not going to use that. But please,
we're gonna have LeBron James go to Warner Brothers, and there's gonna be an AI there. And this is the pitch I'm doing. This is the pitch, guy. We're gonna have LeBron James go to Warner Brothers Studios. There's gonna be an AI there by the name of Algae Rhythm. Excuse me. Also, he's gonna be playing.
Put some spec on his name.
Yeah, exactly what we're gonna make him say that in the film. Also,
write that down.
Finally, huh? Put some spec on my name, right?
And also, we're going to also have Algae be played by Don Cheadle, okay? And he's going to be very, very, very hype and over energetic and everything about the role. And he has like this thing that he's going to be wanting to do with LeBron James to integrate him within movies and
Turn. You're missing something. I hear you talking about story beats, but no one gives a fuck about it. I want Don Cheadle to be wearing aluminum foil for 2 hours. That would just wrap him in aluminum foil.
But you got to understand, he's a AI, so that signifies that he is a circuit board. Okay, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what's funny about what you're saying is, one, I think it's very close to how this movie was made, and two, what's also very close to how this movie was made, the joke in this film was Warner Brothers had a pitch that they wanted to give to LeBron James, and this algorithm thought up the pitch, but it feels like this movie was put together by an algorithm. It feels like a computer spit this movie out. And it feels like they were like, what do kids like today? They like LeBron James. Okay, go. What else do they like? They like Rick and Morty. Okay, put that in there. What else do they like? Oh, they like Wonder Woman. Put that in there. So it just feels like someone had a spreadsheet, and they were like, these are our most profitable films we've got at Warner Brothers. So make sure they show up at some point in some form in the film. It's super. This movie's borderline embarrassing.
They're like really getting off to and overindulging in their own product. And when you're looking at this film and you see all these things like Scooby-Doo, and you see King Kong and Iron Giant and It and Pennywise and all that, you see all that in the background in this film, you're gonna think, Ready Player One. But Ready Player One did it right. Okay?
It did it better. I didn't like that movie either. I thought that movie was also kind of cynical, but I could totally see the relationship to this movie and Ready Player One. But this movie just felt like a commercial. It felt like a long commercial for LeBron James, his sponsors, and most importantly, Warner Brothers. Like, there's a scene where LeBron James falls through the floor in the Toon World, and the hole that he makes is the Nike check. And it's like, it's like, yep. I'm like, was that supposed to be funny? Because it's definitely not. It's not funny at all. It's not even funny for like a little kid. Like, that's just like cynical marketing. Like, geez, okay.
I heard there was 22 writers in this in the writing room for this.
I believe it.
And they were all adults, and I guess they were like they were saying what makes kids laugh, what's funny. And they were throwing all this stuff. They were throwing internet memes, like the whole Porky Pig rapping thing. And I was like, I can't wait till he gets done. And he gets done, and they do the.
Right.
I was like,
they read the Looney Tunes remake like internet memes, and the old internet memes too. Not even like new ones or even try to make new ones. It's like old ones. Yeah. Embarrassing.
It with all of that product, I won't say product, but the property placement that they did, it gets lost in the sauce of what a story is, which the story is, LeBron James will not let his son be who he wants to be. His son is a video game developer in this story, and that's what he wants to do. That's all he wants to do. And LeBron is in the movie. He's like, no, you can't focus on those video games, because it flashbacks to when he was a kid and he was focusing on Game Boy in 1998, which, by the way, by that time, I think they had Game Boy Color, but whatever. And he's like, no, you got to focus on that, because this is what I want you to do. And he's like, you never want me to be me, Dad, and all this stuff. And it just gets so lost because they're just throwing so much stuff at the screen.
Do you know what also gets lost? Is the Looney Tunes. I feel like the Looney Tunes were like super sidelined. Probably because Looney Tunes aren't popular anymore. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. This movie's called Space Jam. It's not called Looney Tunes Jam. So just use different properties. Like, why even go back to and clearly this movie has a video game theme. So why not use like some video game properties? But you know what? Warner Brothers doesn't have that many video game properties that are super lucrative anyway, so they went with the Looney Tunes. I don't know. And the Looney Tunes have recently been rebooted, and I thought, okay, this would be like a good way to show some of their rebooted Looney Tunes, but not really, because they used some Looney Tunes which I don't think they use that often anymore. Like Speedy Gonzalez, I think he's been kind of sidelined, and who's the guy who has the shotgun? I can't remember who wants to
Elmer
kill.
Fudd.
Yes, Elmer Fudd. I don't even think Elmer Fudd even has a shotgun anymore. And if he does, it's got like a little cork in it. And
you know
I was really surprised about that.
You said Elmer Fudd didn't have shotgun, but they sure did have God darn Ron Tootin' So Sammy Sham with his guns.
They did. They did.
Let's try that again, shall we?
I was kind of surprised to see that too. I was like, oh wow, yeah.
This movie was a bag of stuff that I don't think this film is 25 years too late for me.
Yeah, so I kind of tried to look at this movie in two lenses. I looked at it from my own personal lens, because like you said, Space Jam did come out like perfectly for our generation, right? Because the original Space Jam was like a big touchstone for most millennials. So I looked at it from that point of view. And then I also looked at it like if I were a kid today. And I think it kind of failed on both sides. But I think it was probably the most successful for maybe being just like a kid's film. Because like some of the cynical product placement, I don't think would be as disgusting and borderline unethical if you're a little kid. Exactly. But as an adult, it is just like so in your face, so annoying, and it's hard to watch. I had a really hard time to watch it. And you know another reason why it was hard to watch? You mentioned this earlier, but the story, not only do Looney Tunes get sidelined, but like you said, the story gets sidelined. So I really had nothing to follow, other than just like me trying to see if LeBron James can act, which not really.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
What do you say? Dad, please, Dad.
Yeah. It's a little touchy. A little touchy. So I think the movie kind of failed on both fronts, but it was probably more successful as like a kid's film. But for me, I will never watch this movie, and I have a hard time remembering what happened in this film. So I wouldn't bother wasting my time with this film again. It was just a curiosity for me in the first place.
It was definitely just a curiosity click for me because I watched it at the house. Of course, I did not go to the theater to experience this. No reason to.
Oh my god.
And with this thing being called Space Jam, maybe it's in my mind. It's like, okay, so in the original movie, they were on another planet, the Toons planet.
Good point.
This one, they were in a server. Is the server supposed to be space now?
It's called the Serververse.
Server.
And maybe they'll think it's cyberspace. Maybe that's what they'll say it is. I don't know. But you're right. There in the original there was like space and aliens and the and all that. But this time the Goon Squad is made up of mostly like video game. It's like you got like a video game theme going on.
Yeah.
So you're right. The space in Space Jam was a little lost.
Yeah, and they didn't, like you said earlier, they didn't really take advantage of the whole video game aspect of this movie. Even though the boy creates video games.
You know what else was really distracting in this film was the background. In the crowd were other like Warner Brothers figures, like you said. It was there. They had Batman was back there. They had Wonder Woman was back there. Catwoman was back there.
The Mask.
The Mask was back there. The Droogs from A Clockwork Orange was back there. But it wasn't just like normal Droogs. It wasn't just like normal The Mask. It was like Party City version of their costume.
Ooh, yeah, and Mr. Anderson.
yeah. The agents from the Matrix were back there. But I'm like, why the Party City version? I feel like they looked really cheap. Like I was like, is it cheap on purpose? Because it looked really bad. It was so distracting to me. So like, why didn't it just make them CGI or something? They're in a video game. It's fine. Just make them CGI. I don't understand.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson's Joker back there.
Yeah, they did. Cameos but all these cameos were. I think that they were there so that we would mention them, but they were not interesting. It was just distracting.
Just wasted.
And they looked bad. It looked really bad. It looked like if I were to dress up like Jack Nicholson's Joker. It looked bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, people, I'm going to go ahead and give my rating on this.
Oh, yeah.
As for a movie for kids, I guess, is something, they're not going to pay attention to all of this placement that they're putting in there. They don't care. They just want to see the Looney Tunes, and they didn't really even get that in this film.
No, they didn't.
And do they want to see LeBron James? Shit, I don't even want to see LeBron James in the movie. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, continue being, philanthropist. What is it? What's the word? Philanthropist.
Philanthropist.
Yeah, that. Philanthropist. Keep on being that. Keep on being a ball player. Keep on, being an awesome businessman. Keep doing that stuff. Acting. You're not the main actor, LeBron. Okay, you could be a side character.
I feel like he knew that too, because part of this film's animated, where they actually animate LeBron, and I think they probably did that because he was working. He just shot that in the car. He just recorded that in the car before the game or something.
Got a mic on. Got a mic. He's like, oh, I'm a cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, is that good? All of that. So I'm giving this a movie. I'm gonna be nice. I'm giving this movie a 5.
Wow, that is nice. Yeah, I thought about giving it a 5, but the more time has gone since the last time I saw it, the less I remember. So I think this movie is very similar to the last movie in that it's just a forgettable blob of nothingness, very bland. Both of these films, I feel like, if Gunpowder Milkshake was a milkshake theme, if this was a milkshake, it'd be vanilla, and same with Gunpowder Milkshake. So I think I'm gonna give this movie a 4. I don't recommend this movie. I don't recommend the last movie either. But I don't really recommend this movie. But maybe if you've got some kids who are probably maybe under 11 but over 4, it might connect with one or two of them.
They might. But the thing is, I think that the kids still watching that, They'd rather just turn this thing off and go play Fortnite, which, by the way, LeBron James is in there.
Yeah, he's in Fortnite. Or actually go watch some of the properties they're talking about, like Rick and Morty. Like, they wouldn't want to actually watch this film. And that's a good point, too. They've got no special connection to Space Jam. They don't give a fuck. It's only us who care about Space Jam. Yeah. So, and this movie, it ain't for us.
Y'all didn't get that right, WB. Y'all didn't cater to us. The people who are running around wearing Toon Squad jerseys and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
WB catered to themselves. That's really all they cared about when they made this film. It's just them, like I said, pleasuring themselves for almost 2 hours.
All over the screen.
Oh my God.
You gotta wipe it off.
All over. Yeah. It kind of reminded me in the original Space Jam. Yeah, gross. In the original Space Jam, there's a shot with Daffy Duck, and Daffy Duck's got the Warner Brothers logo on his butt, and he lifts up his tail and he kisses his own ass. And this movie is just that for 2 hours.
Perfectly put. Perfectly put.
We're the Looney Tunes, and as such are the exclusive property and trademark of Warner Brothers, Inc.
Yeah, that is our rating for Space Jam, A New Legacy. Devin gave it a 4, I gave it a 5, and that's what you get.
Well, that happened.
So, that is our episode. We want to thank everyone for clicking on this video. We are rising within the subs. We really thank you for clicking on all our videos. Do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you stay up to date with everything that we do here on Mostly Wrong Opinions. My name is Tyrone. That is Devin. Please, do us a favor. You're welcome to leave a like on this video, or you're welcome to, put a dislike on this video. Whatever it is your opinion. But just remember one thing, everyone. It's mostly wrong. It is. Have a good one.